another video here. So I was thinking about a couple things people might be interested in. One is competing in bodybuilding competitions without performance enhancing drugs or steroids or whatever people use these days versus with. And the other is about finding a coach. So I compete in figure bodybuilding competitions, and I'm 54 years old, and I'm a female, and I'm an all-natural athlete. I compete mostly in a non-drug tested federation, which is the NPC. So most people I compete against are using some sort of performance enhancing drugs. Not everybody, but most, women and men. So what I've found so far, I started training for competitions, bodybuilding competitions in 2008, and it is now 2018. So really at the end of 2008, so it will be 10 years at the end of this year. And what I found as a natural athlete is that for me anyway, and this is just my own personal experience, it just takes longer to both add muscle, of course, and to lose body fat. Performance enhancing drugs like testosterone and steroids and other things. Testosterone is a very muscle building steroid. And so people that take testosterone can grow muscle really well and really quickly. And I'm not sure, but I think recovery is better as well. Then there's all kinds of other performance enhancing drugs. There's all kinds of other steroids. There's like steroid offshoots called SARMs. There's prescription medication that's taken for medical purposes that are used in bodybuilding ways instead of their medical ways. There's all kinds of things people use. I learn about that on the internet by watching YouTube videos and watching a lot of bodybuilding interviews. But so people that do take performance enhancing drugs can put on a lot of muscle. They can really change, women can really change the shape of their bodies, put on a lot of muscle, get big shoulders, get a small hips, things that, guys have, big shoulders, small hips, more muscle. The testosterone just helps change the body shape to more like a guy and add muscle. And I think people can recover better, and so they're not as worn out. They can maybe work out harder and more often. Also, there's certain kinds of performance enhancing drugs that help you burn fat really quickly. So when it comes to contest prep, you can take the body fat off a lot easier, a lot quicker. So it sounds like people that use those, have quite an advantage. Now, I choose to be a natural athlete because, number one, I'm in recovery from drug addiction, and I have been for 29 years. And I have a program of being clean or abstinent from all drugs and alcohol that is not prescribed. And I have, as part of my being clean or abstinent or in recovery, I can't take medication that's not prescribed. I can't overuse medication, and I can't take something that I shouldn't be taking. So to me, that includes performance enhancing drugs, because they're just, they're not using a medication the way it's supposed to be used for medical purposes. And for me, that would just be a slippery slope, like I am with sugar. Like, one is too many and 1,000 never enough. Like, well, if I go off the rails, and food, I'm also a food addict. So if I allow myself a little leeway, I just allow myself a leeway in everything. And I kind of feel that if I allow myself to use drugs in a way that isn't prescribed and isn't for a medical use and used correctly, that I give myself permission to use other drugs, in the same way. So I can't afford that myself. In my sobriety, I can't afford that. So that helps me a lot. First of all, it helped me make the determination, no, I'm not going to do this because I don't want to ruin my clean time and my recovery. And also, performance enhancing drugs and steroids have effects on the body. There's side effects. It's not quite clear what everything is according to what I hear on YouTube. For women, a lot of changes can happen. If you're taking male steroids, you're going to get male effects. So there are effects. People's voice lowers, and there's the genitals change shape, and I don't know, there's effects, and I don't want to mess up my body in a way that would have long-lasting effects that really isn't natural. For me, I'd rather not mess that up in myself. Now, I have been tempted at times, the thought of like, wow, this would be a lot easier if I just took steroids, or I'd be able to put on muscle. It would be so much easier to do that. It'd be easier to do contest prep. I could change the shape of my body so much better. But then I remember that I don't choose that for myself. And now when I didn't even know that people use that stuff when I started doing bodybuilding competitions. I had no idea. I thought people were natural. I had no idea. And then maybe I knew some guys took steroids, but I didn't know any women took steroids. And now I see that most of the women do, even bikini girls, take some sort of performance enhancing drugs. And I was shocked. I had no idea. And I was really frustrated at the beginning that, I couldn't change my body and it wouldn't look like these other people looked in pictures that I saw, the pros. And then I learned, well, they're using performance enhancing drugs to achieve that look. So it was a huge, awakening. Oh my God. And I didn't like it at all. I want athletics to be clean and fair. But I developed, an acceptance with the sport in a lot of ways for myself, because I had to accept a lot about this sport. That I was being judged, based on others rather than, some quantitative way to judge people, like amount of pounds you lift compared to others. It was very subjective. It's a very subjective sport. It's on people's opinions and judgment rather than something you can objectively go, this is why you won. It's like, no, it's people's opinion. And then to be compared against people that are using performance enhancing drugs. And there's a lot of things I had to accept about the sport for myself. That I wasn't going to win all the time, or even ever, maybe, although I did this year, but last year, that I'm not going to look like the girls, the women that use performance enhancing drugs. So I had to come to accept that. But I still compete in the NPC because it's really competitive, and my goal is to make myself look the best I can look naturally, and I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of what I can achieve for myself in a natural way. So I have my own goals, and I may never be a pro or be able to look like a lot of these great looking competitive women, but I can look my best self and be my best self. And I've come to accept that I get more tired and I can't work out as intensely, and there are a lot of things I can't do, and my body's only going to look as different as I can eke out year to year by continuing to lift weights and stuff. But it's not going to be these huge changes, and I'm not going to look like these figure number 1 Olympia winners, unfortunately. But who knows? Maybe I can. So it's a choice that people make. I wish all athletics were clean, so we're all on the same field, and we all know we work as hard as possible within the bounds of nature. But I guess that's not how athletics are. All sports. So I get more tired. My muscle gets put on very slowly, if at all. I'm only so strong as I push myself to be within limits of breaking my body, and that I'm not willing to do. And I'm 54 years old. So my abilities aren't getting too much higher, in some ways. I mean, my strength would be better, I think, in my 20s or 30s or even 40s than now, but I've grown to accept that that's okay. And as long as I push my body in some way, my body will respond. So I may not lift as heavy as I used to lift, but it's still hard. So as long as I push myself hard, I'll have a good response, because the body responds to stress stimulus. So you gotta give it stress to grow. So as long as I give it stress by pushing hard, I don't have to break myself to either maintain or grow. So that's my little video on being a natural athlete. Hope that's informative in some way. Okay. Write below if you have questions. Okay. Bye.